The honourable member for New Westminster Coquitlam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to speak in opposition of Bill C-38. As the Conservatives' first budget as a majority government, the Budget Implementation Act serves as a roadmap to this government's priority for these 4 years. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, the future does not look very green. The biggest theme I drew from this budget is the government's focus on large industrial projects as the key to Canada's economic success. Behind the guise of such words as streamlining and modernization, the government is stripping away long-standing protections for our environment, from short-sighted, unsustainable development projects like, for instance, the Enbridge pipeline proposal. 1/3 of the Budget Implementation Act is dedicated to gutting environmental laws that protect Canada's fisheries, rivers, oceans, and ecosystems. With the stroke of a pen, this government is eliminating decades of progress and condemning future generations to deal with their mess. I would like to speak on the changes to the Fisheries Act the Conservative government is attempting to sneak through this Trojan Horse Budget Implementation Act. These changes are undemocratic and egregious abuse of power that will do permanent harm to the ecosystem and Canada's fisheries. Mr. Speaker, make no mistake, these are radical and dangerous changes. Rather than prohibiting the harmful alteration, disruption, and destruction of fish habitat, it will narrow habitat protection to apply to those activities that would harm, quote, fish that are part of a commercial, recreational, or aboriginal fishery, or to fish that support such a fishery, unquote. The Conservative government does not seem to understand the concept of an ecosystem or biodiversity. If they did, they would know that you cannot only protect one species of fish and forsake the others. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives would like Canadians to think that they care about creating jobs. Yet Western Economic Diversification Canada will be cut by $16.3 million by 2015. Our economy in Western Canada is still facing economic challenges, and we need Western Economic Diversification Canada to assist in the development of new industry and jobs. Downturns in commodity prices generally lead to volatility in Western Canada, particularly in forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing. Canada's New Democrats believe we should invest more in research and development, encourage more participation by Aboriginal peoples, and get people properly trained for jobs for the future. For months, I have heard from constituents who are furious with the government for raising the age of eligibility for old age security from 65 to 67. Canadians understand that our demographics are changing, but these negative changes to OAS are motivated not by statistics, but by ideology. Canada is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and the old age security program is sustainable in the long term. Seniors who will be hit hardest by these changes are those who have worked all their lives for modest incomes at jobs that often take a toll on their bodies. Instead of raising the age of retirement, Canada's New Democrats continue to put forward practical solutions that would strengthen Canadians' retirement security. We propose working with the provinces to increase CPP with the goal of eventually doubling benefits. We also propose increasing the guaranteed income supplement. This measure alone would immediately lift every senior in Canada out of poverty. Mr. Speaker, I've also heard from constituents who believe that this government's move to eliminate all funding for Katimavik is short-sighted. Past participants have written to me describing the multitude of economic and social benefits that this program brings to communities across Canada. The government's cuts to youth programming comes at a time when the youth unemployment rate in Canada remains over 14%. That's double the national average. Budget 2012 also outlines millions of dollars in cuts to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, including the elimination of 100 food inspection positions. Canada's New Democrats are calling for the reversal of these cuts so Canadian consumers can be assured that their food is safe to eat. Despite repeated election promises to maintain support for our public broadcaster, The Conservatives are cutting CBC's budget by almost 10%. These deep cuts will result in significant programming cuts and hundreds of jobs lost. More troubling is the government's move to weaken the public pillars of Canadian culture rather than invest in a more vibrant, innovative and creative future. In my riding, constituents remain concerned about chronic overcrowding in ERs of Royal Columbian Hospital and Eagle Ridge hospitals, as well as long surgery wait times and expensive prescription costs. They look to their federal government to provide leadership by enforcing national health care standards and implementing long-awaited reforms. Instead, Mr. Speaker, this government seems more concerned with downloading responsibilities to the provinces and territories, which will inevitably result in increasing disparities in the quality of health care among the provinces and territories. Small businesses are also looking to this federal government for leadership. While I was pleased to see Budget 2012 extended the hiring credit for small businesses, more needs to be done to ensure small and medium-sized businesses continue to be the job-creating engine of our economy. I've been consulting with small businesses in my riding who overwhelmingly support an overhaul to regulations governing credit card processing fees. It's time to make the system more fair and more transparent. I've heard from my constituents who continue to be frustrated by the lack of adequate public transportation infrastructure in our communities. While the federal government continues to ignore this vital issue, cities across our country lack a mechanism for sustainable, predictable, and long-term funding. Canada's New Democrats propose a national public transit strategy, as well as immediately allocating another cent of the existing gas tax to public transit funding for municipalities. Mr. Speaker, let's focus on getting more cars off the road and reducing commuter-caused pollution by ensuring municipalities have the tools they need to build public transit systems that are forward-thinking and that contribute to building healthy, sustainable communities. Mr. Speaker, while our economy is said to be in recovery, many Canadians remain or underemployed. The majority of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck and work hard to make their monthly budgets balance. Those who are close to retirement are worried about the security of their pensions and upset at this government for mandating them to spend 2 additional years of their working life. As managers of the public purse, the Conservatives have shrunk the national revenues by slashing the corporate tax rate to 15% and subsidizing the heavily polluting and highly profitable oil and gas sector. On the other hand, in the past few weeks, Canadians have learned more about this Conservative government's secretive plans to spend some $30 billion on F-35 fighter jets, as opposed to the $10 billion figure quoted by the Conservatives in the last election. Canada's New Democrats believe the Conservative spending priorities are out of line with the priorities of Canadians, which include ensuring the viability of the public services which Canadians rely on, such as universal public health care, a strong pension system, affordable advanced education, and a healthy environment. It's time to address the growing inequality we see in our schools, our neighborhoods, and our cities. It's time to stop sacrificing short-term economic gains for long-term economic, environmental, and social health of our country. Budget 2012 makes it clear that this majority Conservative government has no intention of addressing either of these pressing issues. Mr. Speaker, I will be voting against the implementation of Budget 2012, and in doing so, I believe I will be reflecting the majority views of my constituents. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.